Hey guys, it's Lindsay. This is Storyteller Tarot, and we are doing the 2026 reading for Cancer. Okay, so I've already done the card blessing. I had some camera trouble, so we're just gonna start our shuffle over again. The first message I did get when I first started was that you are in a growth cycle, Cancer, that you are kind of carrying through from 2025. Okay, and that's what's happening at the start of 2026 is the continuation of this growth cycle. Am I right or am I right? This is the Sacred Ibis Learning card. And then the other card that we got is Meerkat Responsibility. So you're kind of moving from this energy of working on the things you're responsible for in your life, and also seeking to learn and grow, which is kind of like Gemini energy, but they had like one sole focus of learning that they really need to focus on. And you is more of a growth trajectory. It's more about your growth and less about a sole focus, okay? There's also something, Cancer, around family, excuse me, and opening up the walls, opening up the boundaries. I don't know what that means. So what I'm seeing literally is like tearing down the wall. You know when you have a non-supporting wall in a house and sometimes you just need to open it up and like let the light in, you know? That's what I'm seeing. And I don't know if that's specifically in reference to house or in reference to the family itself. Okay, so we have freedom, which is the horse, but this is a weird angle, I'm sorry. What I'm looking at is this doorway, because we're talking about the house, right? We're talking about the supports of the house and tearing down walls that don't need to be there for support, right? So what does that mean, Spirit? Can I get a little more clarity around that? What does that mean? Does that mean family, or does that mean the house itself, doing work on the house itself? Okay, this is weird, but what I'm seeing is doing work on the house itself, but also on the family. So it's like things that were hidden coming to light in 2026 around the family, but also actually physically working and uncovering things around the family home. So like, you know, when you tear down a wall and you find things and you're like, didn't know that was there, right? So that's what it feels like in both conjunction, talking about the family itself, the family dynamic itself, but then also the home. So it's this interesting mirroring effect that you're having. Yes, because you're releasing things. You have the Jaguar card. So there is this energy that needs to release both around the family and the home in 2026 that's been held on for a long time, and it needs to be looked at and really fixed, right? And I'm also seeing, we're talking about support beams. Like, it's like, what I'm seeing is re-leveling the house, okay? In the physical realm, re-leveling the house energetically and re-leveling the family. So like that could look like restructuring the family. So like, you know, if someone was the head of the family for an extended period of time and all of a sudden, you know, they're getting older and you need to restructure that family around who is being the head of the family. That's what this message is, Cancer, and you're getting the Jackal truth, which I think is going to require you looking at some hard truths in 2026 about your family members, right? So like, if a family member, say, is getting a little too old to lead the family, you need to look at that. You can't just ignore that, right? You need to, somebody else needs to take up the reins. And that's what it looks like. And it does look like, okay, yes. So we have the beaver, which is work. And then we have the owl, which is wisdom. So that is going to, I think this is actually part of your growth cycle, Cancer, because you may be the one who is taking up the head of the family and making the decisions. And so that's going to require both work and wisdom. Okay, so this is your growth cycle. You are becoming the head of the family, or you are assisting the new head of the family. Okay, and I'm just going to let you know, if this is the case, you have connection, tarantula. Some of the family members might be put out. Okay, even if you are the clear choice to kind of head the family and start making the decisions and stuff, or if you take up that mantle because there's no one else, some of the other, like if you have siblings, some of the other family members might be put out. And I feel like in many ways it may be their lack of initiative that kind of forces you to come to the front and handle things. And then it's almost like they get put out by it, and you're like, well, you weren't here, you weren't doing what you were supposed to do to help everybody, and I had to make the decision. What do you want? So you may have like little gripes and like shifts and like alliances and stuff in the family, but it's about you doing what needs to be done in order to transition during this time. Okay, I'm also seeing something with, this is going to be someone very specific. There's a small leak from an upstairs bathroom, a small leak coming down into either a kitchen, or I'm seeing the pipe specifically like coming down the wall, which may be part of the reason why you need to take down or open up that wall, is because the leak is coming down the wall from the upstairs bathroom into the kitchen. And that's very specific, obviously. So if that's you, let me know. I do like confirmation in my comment section. Okay, so what you're working on this year, 2026 Cancer, is your intuition, and you're going to be guided by your ancestors, because this entirety of this reading has to do with family. So those who have gone before you are going to be very present for this transition, right? So please, open up the channels of communication with your ancestors, open them up, and really make sure you're talking to them and asking them for help, because I do think that they are there to help, and they just need to be asked. Okay, let's see. And you may also be receiving messages from specific, I'm hearing grandparents, so you may receive very specific messages from grandparents. So like certain things, like their things might be moved in the house unknowingly, like, or you might find them. I'm also hearing like recordings. So if you have video recording of your grandparents, like their voices, I keep hearing their voices, or you may be hearing their voices in the house. And don't be freaked out by it. Like, that's them just around you, letting them know that, they're there and they're there to support you. It's not anything that's going to be harmful to you. It's just they're in your time of transition. They are there to support you, Cancer. Okay. Excuse me. Anything else coming out for 2026 Spirit for Cancer? Okay, Wolf. Authenticity. So you are also being asked at this time, in this transition, in this learning curve that's happening here, as you're taking down walls, as you're restructuring and rebuilding the house and the family, you're being asked to remain authentic to your true self, but, and there's a but, on the other side of that, it's a requirement of not talking over others. Okay, so because this transition is going to be so raw, well, okay, we're not going to say that, but because this transition may be difficult for certain family members, and they may need to, share their thoughts and everything like that, don't make it into like a screaming match, basically. Like, don't talk over each other. So it's going to require, if you are stepping up as the head of the household, that also requires an ability to not only be authentic to yourself, but authentically listen to the other family members, okay? And part of this, I think, is you learning how to make people feel heard, but also being able to go through with decisions that need making, okay? Like, being present, allowing them to be heard, and then making the decisions that need making, okay? And I think that's going to help this transition a lot better than if, you know, you just barrel through without listening to anyone, because the most important thing is that, you know, we were talking about keeping those connections, keeping those connections, keeping those family connections, because these are the people, unless they are, you know, really, unless there is no hope with those connections, and you'll know, it's important you know, keep the peace with that and allow everyone to be heard. And I think in some of that way, you allowing other people to speak, it also is easier for you to be heard, okay? So it's the give and take. And I'm saying this very specifically, if that is not the case, and, you know, they're not willing to listen, they're not willing to put in time to help the family, help you, etc., and they just want to be there to reap whatever rewards are happening, that's an entirely different situation. But, you know, it's important to be authentic, again, as I said, to yourself, and authentically listen to those family members that you have around you, okay? Because you do want to retain those connections, right? Okay? Unless you don't, and you'll know. Okay. And the other thing that's important here, so if there are children involved, even if they're grown children, they're going to start observing you. They're looking up to you if they don't already, you know, because you are taking on the helm of the family. So the way in which you conduct yourself is the way in which they learn how to conduct themselves within the family. So just be very aware of that, you know. How do you want to present yourself within the family, right? How do you want the family unit to exist? As much as possible, peacefully. Most people would, you know, you want to go home to a peaceful home. You want to go home to a fulfilled home, and you're at the helm. And so now it's your turn to bring that in and dictate that to the family, which is why we're getting this tearing down the walls and, you know, restructuring energy that's happening here in 2026 for you. Because maybe in the past your family wasn't like that, okay? But now you have this opportunity to implement this within the family structure, okay? So how you have to be very thoughtful about how you're going to go about this, okay? Anything else for Cancer during 2026 that they should be aware of? Anything else for Cancer that they should be aware of? There's something else, and I haven't quite got it yet. There's something else. What is that? What I'm seeing is like a blocked road and a water main break, which is really weird and really specific. So it's like maybe on the street that you're on, the water main breaks. Because remember, I was talking about a very specific, like, the water running down the wall from upstairs bathroom into the kitchen or into the living room. It's like between the kitchen and the living room is what I'm seeing. But I'm also seeing this thing with the street that you're on or a street that you're near being blocked off because of a water main break or because of water, which, I mean, would make sense because you are a water sign, but it's not like a metaphor. It's a legitimate like thing that's gonna happen, okay? So it's because what I see is the water bubbling up from under the street, basically. And, like, you know, when you ever see, like, I don't know if you've ever seen a road collapse, like the water bubbles up and then the whole road just goes, you know, because there's an air pocket under it. That's what I'm seeing, okay? So it's like almost like being closed off in your own little family dynamic. So I do see you getting out and about in 2026, but okay, yes, there is a little bit of metaphor in it. It's about you being closed off in your family dynamic as well. So it's interesting because this other thing, like, you keep trying to get out, you keep trying to put yourself out there, and then you're getting this closed off energy where you just can't get away from the family. And that's not the news I wanted to deliver, but that's the news that's coming out. Okay? Oh, this candle is very much too much. Too much flame and too much fire. So that's what I'm feeling for your 2026 reading, Cancer. It's going to be very family focused. It's going to be very family focused. And that's kind of what we're looking at. My name is Lindsey Rose. This is Storyteller Tarot. If you'd like your own reading, please check out the links in bio. Otherwise, I wish you guys well.